Mr. Ziegler, did any of your supervisors explicitly tell you you're not allowed to investigate Hunter Biden because he's the president's son, yes or no?
I was never told that.
You were never told that, thank you. I mean, I know we're in your deposition, did you suggest that there's some larger conspiracy at play here, which is what my colleagues on the other side of the aisle would have us believe, that there's a two-tier justice system that privileges Democrats over Republicans. And that's what my colleagues are doing. They're using you and using your story and using your work to make this argument for themselves. And since January 6th, these Republicans and Trump have complained about a two-tiered justice system, co-opting the language of the decades-long civil rights movement for Black lives and Black freedom, a movement that they actually are actively looking to eliminate. There is a two-tiered justice system, but it's not about Democrats versus Republicans. This language, two-tiered justice system, has a real history. It has a real history of Emmett Till. It has a real history with Breonna Taylor. It has a real history with George Floyd, the Central Park Five, Derek D. as a young man who was just an unarmed young man who was just killed in Central Florida not but a week ago. And it has a real history with the Groveland Four, four Black boys from Central Florida who were falsely accused of kidnapping and sexually assaulting a white woman when they pulled over to help her when the car was broken. The fourth boy, who isn't pictured here, Ernest Thomas, wasn't apprehended initially. He was actually shot to death in his sleep. A 100-person mob wanted to get their hands on the remaining three Black boys and couldn't, and so they took it out on the predominantly Black town, shooting residents, looting, setting fire to their homes. Charles Greenlee was sentenced to prison for life. He was 16 years old. Now, just a quick trigger warning here for Black death and trauma, but it's an important story to tell when we talk about the two-tier justice system. Because on the way back from the courthouse, the sheriff took it upon himself to shoot the two remaining individuals, Walter Irvin and Samuel Shepard. Walter Irvin actually ended up living because when he was shot, he played dead. But the other one was shot, killed, Samuel Shepard. They were both handcuffed, as you can see in the photo, and were shot to death. They all died in either prison or on parole as convicted criminals, and in 2021, 72 years later, a judge exonerated them, and the trial was considered a fraud. In closing, there is a two-tier justice system. It does exist, but it's not what my Republican colleagues want to say it is, using your story for that. It's not Republican versus Democrat. It's Black, brown, and poor people versus everyone else. And I won't accept when Republican politicians look to appropriate the language of the movement for Black lives and civil rights to fit a political agenda to defend Donald Trump. This is the two-tier justice system. This is the two-tier justice system. And so we have to continue to fight for a world where this doesn't happen. This case about Hunter Biden is a case closed.